Okay, it's 3 o'clock in the CST and 1 o'clock in the Pacific time. So let's start the session. Hello, everyone. My name is Yuna Lee, and I work for the Plano Public Library in Plano, Texas. And my coworker, Nikki Schmader, and I are going to do the presentation today. And our coworker, Jessica Rico, is also here to help us do the presentation. And Jessie, are we being recorded? Okay, the next slide then. Okay, next slide. Yes, this is of partner information in San Jose State University School of Information. So next slide. Okay, so today's title, presentation title is Train the Trainer, a peer-led approach to library staff training. So we are going to talk about the Plano Public Library's staff training development project. And the Plano Public Library is a public library in the city of Plano in Texas. And we have 5 locations spread over the city of Plano. And it is operated on the same system. So we open calls at the 1 library and 5 locations. And today, Nikki and I take a turn to explain that why we need this new staff training system and how we did it, and what is our outcomes with some example and how we are implementing it. So now Nikki is explaining the overview of the project and our development stage. Nikki?
Thank you, Yuna. So yes, as Yuna mentioned, Plano Public Library launched a multi-year project to develop a training system that could be utilized by our staff with the goal of creating a consistent and cohesive experience for our new staff members, while also keeping in mind our overarching goal of serving our community with friendly, knowledgeable staff, no matter which of our 5 branches they visit. Before this initiative kicked off, training at PPL consisted mainly of checklists and was truly a different experience for each staff member. This was largely dependent on which building they were trained at and who they were trained by. So to help support the goal of centralized staff training resources, the instructor team, which consists of 5 total staff members, 1 from each of our branches, was assigned to learn about instructional design and also common training strategies and methods, and then to utilize staff expertise to create a system-wide comprehensive training plan, which would include trainer guides and supplemental resources that are self-directed whenever possible. Next slide. So we decided to use what is called the ADDIE model of instructional design. Now, this is a widely used and structured framework for creating effective learning experiences. It stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So this is a cyclical model that ensures training can be continually improved through feedback and assessment. The ADDIE model is structured yet flexible, which played a really large role in our decision to use it for our training projects, because we would be able to adapt this model to fit our unique processes and timelines within the library, but also make it work with staff across our 5 different branches. Next slide.
Thank you, Nikki. So now I will start with the analysis stages. So to develop our new staff training system, and first we need to know how we are doing the staff training for now. So we use the theoretical framework called CHAT. And we did not ask the ChatGPT that how we are doing. So this CHAT stands for Cultural Historical Activity Theory. And this CHAT framework is useful to analyze human cognitive activities such as teaching or learning in terms of the several elements. So we used this CHAT framework to find how current hour staff training works and what can be improved and how we can improve it. Next slide, please. So this triangular diagram represents the CHAT framework with its elements. So if we use this CHAT framework to analyze our staff training, and the first thing we focused on is the subject, that who does this activity, the training activity, and then object, what's the purpose of this activity, And tools, what types of tools or materials are used in this activity, and what's the outcome? And there are other elements involved in this activity, in the cognitive activity, like training or the teaching. So first is the rule, under what rule this activity is operated, and the community, which groups of people are involved, and the division of labor, meaning upper category of that activity. So for example, if you are teaching a child how to calculate using the board game, and the subject is you, object is to train the child, to teach child the calculation, and the tools could be the board game, and the division of labor could be the math teaching. So under the mathematics teaching category, you are doing this teaching calculation activity. So when we use this chat framework and analyze our current staff training, and we found lots of the training activities, the subject is actually staff, meaning the staff teaches other staff. So more experienced staff trained less experienced staff. So object is to train other staff. And the tools, we have some training materials. And of course, outcome could be the trained staff. And the community involved, there's a staff and also patrons, because staff training gives a direct impact to the service, the patron, and city, because the Plano Public Library belongs to the city of Plano. And the division of labor could be the training at Plano Public Library. So under this training at Plano Public Library, each training activity is operated. So, so we used this one, and then here's a summary of the findings. The first is that in our staff training activities, it is actually peer teaching, because the staff trained other staff. So first thing we found is lots of our staff training is actually in the peer teaching. So that means any staff can be a potential trainer. And about the tools, in the second things, we have some training materials, but we do not have any organized and structured training guides. So we need to develop them. And the third, we do not have any rules. We found from the analysis, we do not have any explicit rule to share or explain how that staff training in the Plano Public Library should be done. So that's the first thing we did, develop some two programs to share this explicit rule about how to teach the staff in our Plano Public Library. So we called it the trainer model. So now Nikki will explain the design and development process.
Thank you, Una. So she just went over the analysis phase. What does the next phase of the ADDIE model look like for us, which is the design phase? So this is an immensely collaborative project, which requires participation and buy-in from all levels of our staff. This is from our managers and our supervisors to our librarians and support staff. This collaboration is important to ensure that staff not only feel connected to the end products, but will also be excited to utilize these new training materials. Now, there are two main roles that our system has identified in our training projects. The role that the instructor team plays has been one of a headquarter or more of a project management role. So we have worked on the overall structure and plan for training materials all the way through our implementation and evaluation phase, as well as playing a supporting role for our project teams that actually design and develop the training content. The second role, and a truly important role, is that of our SMEs, or our subject matter experts. So they participate in the design and development of training materials. This is where we really have that participation and engagement from all levels of our staff as we strive to identify project team members that truly have the knowledge and skills needed to develop content for our various training categories. Now, in the design phase, we have our project teams map out learning objectives that are connected to each position's job competencies and expectations. They then suggest how these learning objectives may best be grouped into individual training modules. And they also help to collect already existing resources that can be used by the next project team, which would be the development project team. Through the design process, multiple training categories were identified. Next slide. So just so you can have a visual of how large of a project this has become within our system, here is a list of our currently planned categories. Now we have a total of 28 categories planned, and some of these are very specific to certain position titles. For example, change management will be for our management team, while transport materials is focused on our van drivers who transport materials between our 5 different locations. Now, your system may not need to plan out this many categories. It is truly up to what the training goals of your organization are. While we have 28 categories planned, we have focused our staff project teams on beginning with the development of categories that are truly what we call the bread and butter for our system. So these included kicking off with circulation services, customer service, and programming. And these teams began in the December of 2023. Since then, we have been able to move on and complete training for library and public access technology, reference services, staff training and development, ethics and values, and laws, policies, and procedures. And this fall, we are going to be tackling 4 more training categories, which are communication and collaboration, leadership, personal performance, and facilities. Next slide. Okay, so now that we've talked about analysis and design, what does the development phase look like? So the development project teams take the outline from the design phase groups and begin to actually expand on the content and write out the training content for each of our planned training modules. We are utilizing trainer guide templates that were created by the instructor team so that no matter which category or topic you are training on, you will be able to pick up a trainer guide and know exactly how to use it. So for example, we have a standard introduction page that has module information and also a trainer preparation section, which tells the trainer exactly what they need to do to prepare for a training session with a new trainee. And there's also standard elements that you can expect to see in our trainings to ensure that they remain learner focused. Next slide. So some of these standard elements include things like learner activities and comprehension checks. We have developed discussion guides, and when appropriate, we have also had the opportunity to create really fun and engaging training videos to help support our goal of having multiple mediums of training for our staff to engage with. And I do just want to take a moment to say that the feedback we have received from new staff on the training videos has been really awesome. We have a few reoccurring characters, such as our deer puppet that you can see in the top left panel there, that have truly become like movie stars in our system for our new staff members. Next slide. Now that y'all have background on our process for designing and developing training within our organization, which serves as our tools, I wanted to talk about that rule of train the trainer, which Una mentioned earlier, and is utilized across all of our different training categories. So train the trainer was our first training module that was completed and implemented in our larger training project. We did this because in order to train and empower our current staff to deliver engaging and effective peer-to-peer training, it was determined that we first needed to provide guidance to our staff trainers on how to utilize the new training materials that are being developed as part of this initiative, and then second, set that standard baseline of expectations of how to provide effective learner-focused peer-to-peer training within the system. So our Train the Trainer modules were developed by the instructor team to help support our staff trainers with the implementation of these new training tools. So we developed 2 modules, logistics and supporting your trainee. In logistics, staff learn where to locate the new training materials and also how to read and utilize our new trainer guides, including those consistent elements that we just talked about that they can expect to be in every training module. So learner activities, comprehension checks, but also how to prepare for each training with a new staff member. Next slide. And then in supporting your trainee, we teach our trainers on how to empower their trainees to engage in and also take an active role in their learning, but how they can support their trainees and make adaptations when necessary. As we all probably know, everybody has a unique way of learning, and our trainer guides are meant to be guiding documents. They are not decrees of what must be done or what absolutely must be said in a training session. So we help to encourage our trainers to use their own voice and experiences while training new staff, but using the trainer guides to ensure that they're covering all of the information that needs to be shared with a new staff member, which can be quite a bit. So we created a really fun acronym and that we like to use and expand upon in our supporting your training module, and that is to keep your training on track. And track stands for thoughtful, respectful, adaptable, constructive, and knowledgeable. So in the thoughtful section, we teach our trainers how to have inclusive communication, set clear expectations, and also ask about their trainees' learning preferences. In respectful, we teach them how to build that rapport between themselves and their trainee, how to encourage their trainee to ask questions, and also to make sure to follow up with their trainee after training sessions to see how they're doing. In adaptable, we teach them how to adapt the planned training content to ensure that their trainee is successful. So offering practice if needed, or a break, or giving supplemental resources to a trainee who might be struggling with a concept. In constructive, we teach our trainers how to provide actionable and constructive feedback. And then in knowledgeable, this is where we really teach them to build that credibility between themselves and their trainee, because not only are they a trainer and a trainee, but they're also coworkers. So how do you build that trust between yourself and your new coworker, that you know what you're talking about and that you know where to go to get answers? Next slide.
Thank you, Nikki. And sorry for not being on the video. My laptop has a technology problem, but I don't think any of you has the problem not seeing me for in this presentation. So I continue my presentation. So now we are going to the implementation stage. And whenever we finish the prototype of our training modules, and we go through the mock training. So I'll explain this process using the train the trainer modules. So we finished our prototype of Train the Trainer modules in February 2024. And the next month, we went through the mock training with the help of staff volunteers. And based on the feedback, and we revised that our training modules. And in May 2024, we completed our Train the Trainer courses, consist of 2 training modules. And the next, we implemented it first to our managers and supervisors and the lead team, and then open it to the older staff. And at this point, the staffs taking these courses is voluntarily, they voluntarily take it, but the staff who trained other staff are strongly recommended to take these courses. Next slide, please. So by the end of this spring, among the 180 PPL staff and the 94 staff, that is a little bit over the half, and that completed this Train the Trainer courses. And we are planning to provide this Train the Trainer training modules on the regular basis. Next slide, please. So here are some examples of the staff responses. So the first 2 responses are from the staff who has an experience to train others. So as you see that the staffs who has an experience to train other staffs found this staff train the trainer courses are helpful and useful. And the third response is from the inexperienced staff. And she never trained the other staff, but after taking these train the trainer courses, she feels she is confident and also be ready to be the trainer. And also that if you're interested in this train the trainer module, we presented this train the trainer, focusing on the train the trainer modules in the TLA, the Texas Library Association conference in the last spring. And we had a shared folder to share that our documents and some necessary information. So we will provide a QR code at the end of this presentation. So if you are interested in, you can go and look for more information. And then I saw in the chat if there is a copy of the trainer module or other things, and you can find them there. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we finished the 8 categories, including customer service and circulation service and library programming basics and more. And we are using these training modules to train our new hires. And we are hearing a lot of the positive responses. So one new hire told us that this is the best training she's ever had. And also trainers also told us that this training material and guides saves a lot of preparation time and makes the training easier and more effective. And one manager commented us that the new hires now do not have a typical new hire look. So we'll take that as a compliment. So here are the conclusion. The staff training development project in the Plano Public Library focused on three things. First, we aimed at innovative peer-led training approach. And second, the development process is collaborative. So all the staff from different levels participated and contributed. And the third, this is a self-sustaining model because we did not use any extra talents. We did not use any extra budgets. So this is pretty much self-sustaining. So although this new staff training development project is solely based on the circumstances and context of the Plano Public Library, we believe that other libraries take this model and adapt it to their context or the circumstances and build their own self-sustaining staff training system. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the QR code to our shared folder I mentioned before. And here are some names of the people who made a great contribution to develop this project in our instructor team. So do we have a time to take a question? Oh yeah, I think we can.
Yes,
the
you do.
question.
And there was a question that came through, if you're ready for those. Okay,
Yes.
are you using this training, the trainer, to onboard new staff as well as to reboard or refresh staff that have been at the library for a while?
Oh, yes. And then we have onboard training and it is connected, closely connected to our training system. So Nikki showed our so many the categories and they are all connected. And yes, we use it for the onboard. And of course, there is an ongoing training. So there is a lot of refresh things. And as we mentioned, this is a peer training. So anyone can be a trainer, anyone can be trainee. So it is like a circular model. Sometimes one staff become a trainer and train something that person is experienced, and the other times the trainee again and other experienced staff can train at something else. So it's an ongoing process.
Perfect, thank you. And you had answered the questions in the chat about getting a copy of the training templates and the Train the Trainer module. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm guessing if they take a photo of the QR code, scan the QR code, they'll be able to have access to that folder.
Correct. And I think right now in that folder, we have our logistics module from our Train the Trainer modules in there, but we could also upload our supporting your trainee, which is where we talk about that, keep your training on track. So we can get that uploaded in there as well.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes. Anybody have any other questions? Okay, we've had somebody say the QR code won't scan.
Let me pop the link to, it's a Google Drive link. I can put that into the chat for everyone as well.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So hopefully that will work for everyone.
All right. Okay, link and QR code's working. So thank you so much, Nikki. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in. So if everybody wants to head over to another session, thank you so much. This was pretty amazing. So I'm excited to look through all of your documents too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to go ahead and stop the recording as well, if that's okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.